All evening I spent in restless waiting for what my mother had hinted at. Curiosity gave my mind no peace, nor did the prophecy the blacksmith had spoken leave my thoughts. It was, for now, almost the only thing that gave me faith. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's foretold that I shall win a great glory. And if the gods will it so, then how can I, an ordinary man, escape what is meant for me? Let something happen that will make me famous, even if I resist it. Such thoughts ease my heart, and I wish to live again. Let my king look upon me with judging eyes. Still, I know that my inescapable fate already waits for me somewhere round the corner. And what need I have of that fire still, when all I must do is wait until my fortune overtakes me? And so, enjoying the sweet taste of triumphs to come, I did not notice how the sun hid beyond the horizon, and the cheering dark covered the earth. The fire still burned and the voices still sounded for a long while, so this was my best time to slip away from the palace unseen. I had no idea of what I was to seek, yet I knew my mother had not hinted at night's walk for nothing. The full moon hung high in the sky, lighting the yard and all the towers around so generously it was hard to leave unnoticed. Its silver light turned the dark night into the bright day. I gathered myself quietly, creeping along the wall, but at the very gate I was stopped. My stable hand stood nearby with the horse. He called to me just as I nearly vanished into the dark. My prince, come here." "Quiet! What are you doing here?" "Waiting for you." "For me?" "That's right, for you. Knyahina summoned me this afternoon and gave me a task, most delicate and secret. She told me to wait for you at the gate with the horse once it grew dark, and when you come to take you, you'll see where yourself." What is all this secrecy? I ran my hand over the old companion who had known me as his master since he was a foal. The horse recognized my touch, and turning in his great eyes, both of us were mirrored, the prince and his faithful Stablehand. From our very birth we did everything together, played, trained, listened to elders' tales, and dreamt of our future. And only that horse, whom he tended and who belonged to me, knew our every adventure, heard our every secret. No wonder such a mysterious task was given to the Stablehand. Very well, then ride the horse. We mounted, I held the Stablehand from behind so as not to fall, and we set off into the unknown. The night was wondrously clear. The moon outlined with pale light the shapes of trees, huts, and all that crossed our path. Across the surface of the dark lake gleamed a moonlit trail, leading to the humble hut on the shore. As we reached it, some otherworldly feeling came over me. The windows were dark, and the deep silence covered the place. Not a breath of wind, not a bat, not even the rustle of a leaf. As if the hut had hidden itself and waited for something. After standing a moment, I glanced at the Stablehand. His face made it plain to me that I was safe and on the threshold of something important. So I decided at last to knock at the door. Come in." Inside, all was lit with the white shine of the full moon. In the middle of the room stood a great mirror, set at an angle so that in it was reflected a woman, who looked right at me, though she sat in the next room. The sight frightened and unsettled me, yet her voice was gentle and soothing. "Sit on the bench facing the light. Let me look at you. You've grown into a fine young man, bright-eyed, but I see your heart is troubled. Have we met before?" "I'm your grandmother, though not by blood. On just such a clear night, when the Knyahina was given birth, it was I who received your labor, and it was my hand that caught you when you first came to this world." "Is that so? So you're my midwife? And why do you call yourself grandmother when you do not look old?" "You see, grandmother is not age, but a calling. A woman has a gift given by the gods to bring the souls of people into this world. But as old age comes near, the gods dry up this gift in a woman, and until her death she can no longer give a birth. It might seem the nature is wasting. What need is there of a pond where no fish swim? But it is no curse and no punishment, for at the moment when the waters of her body can no longer hold a child, a birth happens in the woman, and she becomes a grandmother. A woman of great life experience and wisdom is a treasure that enriches the kin and the tribe. A skilled warrior who has won glory and cunning in battle serves better as a war leader than as a hero in a battle. His experience and wisdom are too precious to lose them in a clash with an enemy. So too a woman, once she has borne children, once she has learned the household and the wisdom of life, she receives the God's gift, the rank of grandmother. For her knowledge and skill are needed by the kin and by those younger than her, who do not yet know the secrets and ways of life. But I, from my earliest childhood, was destined to be grandmother. Unable to conceive a child of my own, I became a grandmother to others, a midwife who takes children from the other world and brings them into this one. And why do people need a midwife at all when every other beast gives birth on its own? Every beast has its own special gift from the gods. The squirrel skillfully cracks nuts and leaps among the trees. The stork has a long beak to catch its prey from the water. The bats see with their eyes, for they live in the hours of night. And the human likewise has a gift, to walk upright, to have a clever head and skillful hands. But a high price did the human pay for such gifts, or rather, the woman still pays it. Human cleverness needs a large head, and such a size passes hard through a woman's womb. What's more, long ago the ancestors of people walked on all four, just like other beasts. But one cannot work skillfully when hands are busy. So rising onto their feet, people freed their hands for craft. The hips of people narrowed for the ease of walking, and because of that it became even harder for a woman to bear children. The birth is not only joy but a trial which not every woman or every child can survive. That is why a midwife is needed, to wrap the woman in care and tenderness, so that birth may pass easily for her and for her children. And how do you become a midwife? That inability to carry a child emptied me. I bore gifts to goddesses, went to healers and worked spells, yet nothing helped. Black sorrow stained my soul and nothing brought me joy. I stood against the current of life, and this resistance kept me from seeing the most important thing, that if the gods did not let me become a mother, then they were keeping me for something else. The one who wishes to rule over their own fate will never know peace. Worn out, drained by sleepless night, I came to the last healer who might help me. If she does not help, I'll drown myself, I thought. The crone, having listened closely to my story, told me instead an ancient legend of truth and Auri. Arai. An ancient legend of truth and Arai. There once lived beautiful Truth. In her chamber she had a great old mirror. Truth spent much time before it, admiring herself, changing her garments and fixing hair. Her reflection praised her beauty, her grace, her manners. But it was no ordinary reflection. It was Arai, the mirror twin of Truth, whom she took for her own image in the glass. Arai lived while the Truth looked into the mirror, and vanished when Truth looked somewhere else. The years went by and the maidens grew up together, admiring and praising one another. But a time came when Truth, little by little, spent less time before the mirror. The lovely spring enchanted her, and Truth could not sit still indoors. For days she gathered flowers, wandered the woods, and took joy in the beasts. But the saddened Arai grew uneasy. She wanted to admire Truth as before. Again, Truth, have you left me for a whole long day alone? Oh, how hard it is to stay indoors when out there such beauty blooms. The sun shines so bright and paints the world in colors. And your face is painted by the sun, just look. Your nose is red, your forehead is lined, your skin is flaking. But you must be beautiful, so everyone likes you. What will the lovely flowers and the singing birds think of you when you come to them so neglected? Oh dear, you speak truly. Have I aged so fast? The world out there is dangerous. Look, your hair has faded from the sun, and your skin is cracked from the wind. Better you stayed indoor and guarded your beauty. And so Truth indeed decided to spend less time outdoors, while the pleased Arai went on admiring and praising the beauty of Truth. But when the hot summer came, Truth's friends called her more and more often to feast and play with them. So once again Truth spent less and less time before the mirror. Arai was jealous of Truth's friends and began to warn her. Do not believe Truth all that you see. The eyes often deceive us, showing wished for the real. Out there everyone smiles at you, but what is in their mind can you see? On the lips one thing, in the thoughts another. Will your heart endure if one of them deceives you? Will your heart endure if one of them will betray you? Don't leave the house to keep it safe. Here only I tell you the truth to your face, for I am you yourself. The world will flatter and deceive you, but the mirror never lies. Oh dear, it's true, I hardly know them at all. And so, Truth decided to spend less time with her friends, while the pleased Arai went on admiring and praising the beauty of Truth. But when the golden autumn came, Arai saw the Truth pack in a bundle. Where are you off to, Truth? This world is so vast and full of mystery, I want to see its wonders. I'm setting out on a great journey to see far lands and unknown peoples. Have you lost your mind? You empty head. You're still a child. What journeys? Out there are robbers, cheats everywhere. You are so naive, Truth. Fear the strangers, for you will lose your head and everyone will mock you. Truth thought for a moment and then answered, I do not wish to spend my whole life shut in here. Even if I lose my life, I will not lose it in vain. But if I stay here forever, then I shall surely waste it in boredom and sorrow. Oh dear, if you will not listen to me, then at least stay one more night, just one. Before you lose yourself in the world, sit and look closely at yourself. There is only one like you, so be yourself. Since early childhood, we too have been together. We dressed up, made faces, chatted and wept. Remember it all and keep your image in your heart, so as not to forget it when you wander foreign lands. Touched, Truth thought and decided to stay one more night. When she slept, the room was in utter darkness, for the moon was as thin as a hair, and the night was as black as the bottom of the sea. Truth dozed in her bed, while Arai looked upon her with blood-red eyes. A terrible rage burned in her heart. A gnawing injustice gave her no peace. Waiting for the darkest hour, Arai gently stepped out of the mirror, grabbed the needles from the table, and saying, If you will not look at me, then you shall see nothing. Arai put out the eyes of Truth, and in the last instant a wild terror took the hold of the whole being. She understood that by destroying the sight that created her, she had destroyed her own self. Truth could not grasp what happened, why her eyes had ceased to see in a single moment. Truth cried with grief, for she so longed for the beauty of life, for the shining of the sun, for the colors of flowers. For days she would not leave her room, but only wept quietly in her bed. Her friends begged her. Her kin tried to lure her out, but all in vain. When the white winter came, Truth still not had left her room. She had ceased at least to mourn her side and accepted the bitter fate, made peace with the eternal darkness. My eyes I cannot get back, but is it worth the time of my life spent for the empty sorrow? While I weep here, my life flows on without waiting. Yes, I have lost my sight, but I must cherish what is left to me, my life. Then, in the middle of the day came quiet knock at the window. Who is there? Asked Truth. You lie here while spring is already on her way. Soon the birds will sing, the wind will carry the scent of flowers and the rustle of leaves. Come out, greet the spring, Truth. What is it all to me when I cannot see the spring? The beauty of spring can be delighted in with more than just eyes, answered someone, and the wondrous song of a lark rang out. Was it a bird that spoke to me? Truth wondered, and went out blind from her house. Stepping with the bare feet on the snow, she heard the song of the birds and the sounds of beasts, and listening close, she could understand what they said. The more time Truth spent among the beasts, the better she learned their tongue. And then, little by little, she learned to see their souls and the souls of people too. Having lost her both eyes, Truth found within herself the third one, which sees the world deeper than human sight. And from that day, Truth was a support to those who had lost their way in the world, and a guide to those who thought the path to themselves. And so, my prince, having heard the story, I understood that by fleeing from myself, I was only deepening my own suffering. I learned to watch the dead, to heal the living, to read fortunes, and to see fate. I became a guide, a bridge between worlds, a boat that crosses between the shore of this world and the shore of the beyond. Instead of my old children, I learned to bring the children of others into this world, and so I have more than 100 grandchildren now. Among them, you. Tell me, grandmother, were there any prophecies when I was born? Your mother was ready to give birth, so each day I waited for a messenger. That night, the full moon was just as bright as it is now. When I had just been preparing for the rest, someone knocked at my door. I opened it and see a blacksmith. So he asked me, may I, he says, spend the night with you? Well, I don't mind, I tell him, and I will gladly give him shelter, but there will be no rest for him in my hut, for I'm a midwife. People come to me at night when someone's wife begins to give birth or some sickness strikes. But he said he would stay anyway and lay down on the hay. Yet, not for long, he was able to sleep. In the middle of the night, messengers came from the palace, calling me for the young kняжна, for she was already in her birth pains. I, of course, dressed in everything new and fresh, took a knife for your cord and swaddling cloth, and just as I was about to go, the blacksmith says to me, when you enter the palace, first of all stop and look to both sides. If you see something on the right, a glorious kniaz will be born. But if you see something to the left, a glorious sage will be born. Then he snored, and I, confused, ran off to the kняжна to catch the child. I got there quickly, for all was bright as day. A crowd of people met me, all talking at once and asking me questions, and I stay silent, for until I have called upon the gods, one must not speak. I only waved them off and pushed through the people to the door, when I suddenly remembered the blacksmith's words. I went inside and looked to the right. There stands the great kняz himself. I glanced to the left, and there, two sages stand speaking of something. After that I remember little, for everything was in chaos. All the women unbraided their hair, opened all the doors so that an easy path might untie itself for you into this world. Your mother was given birth just before dawn. She held on a towel thrown over the beam beneath the ceiling, but you managed to be born first, before the sun. Hardly had its rays begun to show from beyond the horizon when I had already caught you and carried you to the trough for your first bathing. So what does this mean? Two fates are appointed to me? I cannot grasp it. Here, my prince, is the whole secret of your birth. Right after you, your twin was born. The sages said that you were born together with a star, and concluding all the signs of the skies, one of you would stay at the palace and become the ruler of the world, while the other would live the palace life and become the teacher of the world. But your brother died the very day, and no one knows why. I think you can imagine the parents' grief yourself. Yet, even as they took comfort in this arriving child, that prophecy gave your father no peace. He was ready to do anything so that a kняz would grow in his house. So that he would never learn of the prophecy, he ordered those sages to leave the Rus. One was set out to the east, the other to the west. And the great kняz commanded them, until they unrevealed all the secrets of the beyond, not to return to Kyїv. As for me, he allowed me to stay and to go on healing people, but said he would put me to death if I ever once came before your eyes. This is why we speak through the mirror, my prince, so that I would not break my promise to the great kняz. Does this mean my father had stolen my fate? Fate cannot be stolen, my prince. What is meant for you will not pass by. While you are busy seeking who to blame, you do not seek your own path. I became a midwife and I accepted my gift with gratitude. So too did Truth open her third eye by accepting her own fate without grief. But do not suffer that instead of carrying a child of your own, all your life you must care of others. Do you know what suffering is, my prince? I do. It is the compass of the heart by which the body steers us towards survival and offspring. Any soul, like water in a bowl, when it left in peace, settles into the state of balance. This calm is like the surface of the lake when there is neither wind nor fog, and the water lies even like a mirror. The patterns or ripples on the surface can be music, pleasant touch, or playfulness, but when something disturbs that rhythm, the soul, like water, loses its balance. The further the soul is driven from it, the more painful is the suffering it feels. The soul longs to return to the state of balance, and this returning is felt as pleasure. But why do we suffer not only from pain and hunger, but also from words, from betrayal, from insult? This measure where one end is pleasure and the other suffering, the heart lays not only against sensations such as hunger or cold, but against beliefs as well. Life is too complex for the body to know all its dangers beforehand. So our conclusions about its life path too determine where you suffer and where you feel pleasure. For instance, if through personal experience there lives in you a belief that people are dangerous and bring harm, this will create such weather in your heart that drives you to avoid people. To be among them becomes suffering, and solitude becomes pleasure. All these beliefs and conclusions live as beasts in the lake of the soul and create the waves of pleasure and suffering. The inexperienced person is like a little boat caught in the current of feelings, but an experienced oracle knows how to sail those currents with skill. What do you mean? How can a person be caught in a current? Do you know the difference between a rescuer and a thief? At first glance, they play opposite roles. One saves homes and the other robs them. But in truth, both are alike in this. They avoid suffering and seek pleasure. The difference between them comes from the difference in their life experience and beliefs. The thief was not born a criminal, but in his own eyes he restores justice, and this very thing brings him pleasure. The rescuer too was not born a hero, but he takes pleasure in, say, serving the community. It is the beasts of the soul's lakes that create the currents that people call temperament, character, fate. The more often a person swims in the familiar currents, the harder it is to set off by new ones. And where do those currents steer us? The fearsome beasts frighten you away from things that have frightened you before. The pleasant beasts call you to where you have felt joy before. But each of those beasts, in order to live, swallows a piece of the lake, borrowing the life from the water. But the soul longs to merge with its lost pieces. They speak with the soul, calling it out to be rescued. So all those beasts in the lake of the soul steal my very life? Do the little fish you feed steal your food? People divide beasts into pests and tamed ones. The tamed, like a cat or a cow, take food from us but give something in return. The pests only take and leave behind nothing but harm. So too with the beasts of your lake. Those cast in by your truth are tamed, but those thrown in by your awry are pests. They do not want your soul to find its peace, for then they would have to vanish, like a mirage. And when the soul stays always in the state of balance, is it not boredom? Boredom is the feeling that the present moment is not filled with meaning, the emptiness of being. This is the pain of the wound where your soul is torn. People find it painful to feel this call, and they hide behind endless tasks, entertainments, and chatter, so as only not to hear how their soul grieves. The swallowed pieces, like ghosts, roam in the lake, until at last a person gathers the courage to look into the eyes of those who are, in fact, their own crooked reflections. By suffering of boredom, the body urges you to action. Thanks to boredom, a person is able to find their meanings and accomplishments. As against the gray sand, the precious stones gleam the brightest. That is why it is important not to neglect your feelings, even when they frighten you. What once belonged to you waits until you are able to find the lost thing and take back to yourself the force sealed within it. What force? The raindrops slide down the grass to the ground, where they gather into a puddle, and then, seeping through the earth, merge into springs, and those into rivers, which flow together into lakes, seas, oceans. All the water of the world longs to merge into one single body of water. Any wave of the surface of the ocean longs to lose its form and merge with it. In the same way, everything in this world has a soul. The stone, the dog, the spider, the snake, the bird, the tree, the sky, and the earth. The stone lies and it is silent, yet it holds its form, remembers warmth, is polished by water. The duck is flight and swimming, the spider is neat geometry and the sense of trembling. Like the cycle of water upon the earth, all souls are merged into one soul, a current that passes through everything and makes everything what it is. The force of the stream is the way in which the world flows. Imagine a river. The waves are events, the stones are circumstances, the water is feelings. But there is something more that is neither water nor stone nor river. It is the current. It is the very thing we speak of. The soul of the world. Its current is the harmony of all the movements in nature, the inner nature of everything, the bond of cause and effects. Like a melody which lives not in a single note but appears in their order and pauses. The force has two sides, the current and the knot. The current is the self-moving motion, growth and aging, the turning of seasons, the drift of clouds and rivers, the free run of thoughts and the change of mood, action without hesitation. The current does not need your consent, it simply flows. The knot is contradiction, the habit of going against the current, or the wish to hold it, and from this to suffer. To master the force is not to rule over the nature, but the skill of bringing your own movement into the harmony with the current. And how is one to deal with the beasts of Arai who have swallowed the soul? Must a person forever struggle against the current they create? The effort to keep turning the soul to balance this way is like the effort to keep pouring water into a barrel full of holes. True satisfaction can be reached only if one removes the causes that drive the soul out of balance. The longings of the soul do not always seem logical or wise, yet, unlike the body, the soul's task is not to survive, but to merge whole, and for that it must find its lost pieces. From childhood, those pieces also live in the parents, and having grown up, through gratitude and forgiveness, people take the pieces of their souls back. So too, everywhere the soul sees meaning, there the call of its lost pieces waits to be recognized. The gods grant the soul life experience, in which, by carrying out its earthly quests, it finds itself. But when people are busy seeking the pleasures of body, they have no time to pass through the quests of life, dooming themselves to drift the known currents and to repeat forever the lessons of fate. The soul is meant to water the dryness of the world, not hide from the drought. But how is one to change a person's fate? Pain we always take for suffering, yet there are exceptions. The pain of medicine on a wound can bring a strange pleasure, just like the ache of the muscles of the one who trains them. What turned the suffering of pain into pleasure? Belief. But the trouble is that the person does not notice their own beliefs, as a fish does not notice the water around it. When it becomes clear that the beliefs lead to the wrong way, and the heart's compass is broken, then the help of sage is needed, who will teach you to see what hides from your eyes at the bottom of the lake. for the treasure always lies at the bottom of the water you're afraid to dive into. The habit of acting and feeling like handwriting demands patience, effort, and the presence of a kind teacher to rethink it. But we live in times when the priests are not trusted, the traditions are scattered, and the selfishness reigns, so each is left alone to find meanings. And what happens to the one who can bring the lake of the soul into the balance of a mirror? This is a state beyond suffering. Only the one can reach it who utterly overcomes the demon of their own heart. For it is the very inability to see truth that keeps the light of the unconditional happiness from shining through the lake of the soul. The waves of emotions hinder the looking into the depths of the soul. The stiller the water, the more you can see. Oh, is this not what I look for? Tell me, grandmother, are you good at reading fortunes? All my prophecies are self-fulfilling. Many years ago, a jeweler who made jewels of enchanted beauty came to me and asked whether he would win glory in his craft. I told him that he would win worldwide glory. And how did he use this knowledge? He gave up on working, for he was certain that his success would not pass him by. And indeed, glory overtook him, but only after his death. When he died, his skin sold all the remnants of his works of unbelievable beauty, which spread across the world. He lived this life in the waiting to be recognized, and he received only that, the waiting. In the future live only mirages and anxiety. In the past live only regret and nostalgia. Live in the present, for only here live the joy of today. That jeweler, I would not wish to be on his place. You're already there. And not to be in his place is the surest way to end up in it. For to swim against the current that has caught you, that is the worst way to free yourself from it. Attention is like water. It cares not which flower it feeds. You must direct it yourself. The more you feed your sufferings, the deeper you sink into their swamp. Then tell me, will my wish come true? Will I reach the state beyond suffering? The midwife rose in silence and began to search for something. Long she looked for among her things in the dark, until she drew out a small trough and set it before her upon a ring stand. Without the stand, the trough would wobble and still the water. Though its presence goes unnoticed, without it the truth could not be seen. She poured water from a jug into it, and in it the whole moon was reflected as a bright circle. In this trough you were first based upon the earth, so there is no better tool to read your fate. Let us see then what the gods will tell us, so that your heart may settle. Then the midwife began to whisper something and to pass her hands over the water. The even circle of the moon spread out in silver patches across the surface. The fool. On this path you are like a blind. Your strength is in your openness. Your weakness is that you do not notice it. Without even grasping what you seek, you came to me for certainty. The lady, the oracle, the Lord. Between the hands and the head, the heart must be the mediator. When it is pure, in its mirror surface the sky and the earth meet. The hermit. You seek what you have not lost. Sometimes, searching for their reading glasses, a person turns the whole house upside down, only to realize that all this time they were before their very eyes. Only your own inner light must be your guide. Follow the inspiration of the heart. Death. Be ready on this path to lose what you held inseparable. Death and decay people see with the eyes of fear, but do not give in to this habit. Sometimes that to which we are bound drags us to the bottom, and only the rotting of the rope can free a person from a deadly treasure. 42. What is 42? What I see lies beyond the words. The moment my wisdom is put into words, only its trace remains. You cannot wade into water and not get wet. It is impossible to express truth in human tongue without twisting it. Only the one who can hear the silence will be able to find the meaning. Though you are lost, your heart is good. I have 2 gifts for you. They are ready with your companion. You will take them from him. The first gift is a magic mirror. It is utterly dim, as if the lake of the soul were full of awry. If you can master the 4 elements and receive the seal of fire, the seal of air, the seal of earth, and the seal of water, then you will grasp the meaning of the self-revealing truth, and your mirror, like your soul, will find the state you seek. The second gift is the swaddling cloth of your dead brother. Now you know the secret, so keep a memory of it. Thank you. But I still do not understand. Will I reach my goal? We shall see, for the future has not yet come. The world is like a mirror. It does not give you what you demand, but gives you who you are. Do not seek your own fate in the mirror. Create it yourself.